and welcome to Nurse Table Talk. I'm Nurse Julie, and today I'm joined by Tim, who is with an organization called Senior Citizens Home Assistance Services. And I know that's a mouthful, but we'll otherwise call it as SCHAS. And Tim is here to share his information about his organization and the services that they provide. Because as you all know, our health status can change in a moment's notice. And then we may need services, and that allows us to remain independent and in our own home, and again, out of the hospital. So let's get started. Hey, Tim, thanks for being here today.
Hey, Julie, thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we'll get started by maybe having you share information about your organization, like where you're located, things like that. And then we can go into the services, and then finally discuss the all important costs. So how does that sound to you?
That sounds great. Again,
Okay.
you've gotten the name correct. It's Senior Citizens Home Assistance Service, or again, we refer to it as SCHAS. But the agency started back in 1970, so it's been around for 53 years. And it started in Knox County, Tennessee, but of course it has grown into about 20 counties here in East Tennessee. So we have a regional presence throughout East Tennessee, and in a year's time, we probably serve somewhere around 2,500 older adults and persons with disabilities with our services. And it is great. We are a nonprofit, so our fee structure, when we get to that, we'll talk about that, but it's probably
Okay.
different than other agencies that or other companies that you talk to because of our nonprofit status. We are a 501c3, and so that allows us to do a few things differently. But again, we are a non-medical company, so everything that we do is going to be assisting with like activities of daily living and
Okay.
those kind of things.
Okay.
Nothing medical, no home health coming in here. It is kind of like what you said, getting your house cleaned or helping with the bath or some of those things. So
Okay.
does that answer the first question for you?
Yeah, and that's great. And the services, like you mentioned, personal care, and even though it may not be a nursing service, or like you said, non-medical, helping somebody get to the bathroom or helping them with some light chores, that helps to prevent falls. And you also mentioned too that you did transportation services. I know you and I had previously talked about that. So maybe you want to share that as well. I mean, there were some different things that you guys did that maybe somebody else doesn't.
Right. Yes. So, our agency started out as what you would think of as a modern day maid service, I guess, with the homemaker side of things, going in and cleaning and maybe cooking a meal. That might be a little different than a maid service, but doing the laundry, sweeping, dusting, vacuuming, all those kinds of things. And then over time, it became obvious that the needs of older adults were growing. And so, like if you fall, as you mentioned, or if you fall in the shower, that becomes a very scary thing for older adults, especially if they get
Oh,
hurt from that fall. And that can be a life-changing incident for sure. And so, what we do is we can be there to help them with that shower and help them get dressed and those kind of things. And then, like you said, when we go into that home, we do what we call an initial assessment or an intake. And it takes about an hour long, but we're really trying to get a snapshot of what's going on with that person and see if we can draw up a care plan that is tailored to that person and their needs. So that way, we really are looking at just that individual right there in that time to see what we can do for them. And then when we turn that over kind of to our care providers or caregivers, they've got an idea when they go in that home of what they're going to need to do for that person. And so everybody's different. All the needs are different. We don't try to
right.
just put them in a box and say, this is what has to be done. The amount of time, we're one of the agencies that will do like a 1 hour bath if that was just something that you would need, or it could be 24 hours a day. Most of our folks probably are getting like 3 to 4 hour shifts though. You can get that, 7 days a week, or you can just get it one day a week. So again, it's really going to be custom tailored to your needs and
Mhm.
what is going on in your life at that time and how we can help keep you safe in your home. Because I think that is our goal when we go, is
Right.
just to keep you safe and let you stay in your home as long as you can and be independent.
I just love the services that your organization provides. When I
Yeah.
read it and saw the multitude of numerous, services, it was just overwhelming. I'm going to keep you on my refrigerator, that's for sure.
Well,
Your
that's good.
contact information.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then once you get past the core services, our homemaker and all that, and COVID caused, in my opinion, gaps of services for older adults. And one of
Right.
those was really just transportation. There's always been a gap for transportation and need for transportation. But once COVID ended, well, not once COVID ended, but once medical offices started opening back up and doing the 1-day surgeries, we got phone calls from people saying, I've got a surgery coming up, but I don't have a caregiver to stay with me during that time. And they want someone to drive me back home, and I don't have anybody that can drive me back home. So I'm not going to get my surgery if I can't get a caregiver. So we started our transportation program just around that need, to have caregivers go with these older adults, drive them to their 1-day surgeries, make sure they get that, then help get them back home and get them checked in. And if they if from that 1-day surgery, if they had to fast or something like that and they needed to eat on the way home. Well,
Right.
and I can remember because I've driven some of these folks to these things. And the cool thing about it is, if when they've been locked up, COVID caused them to be locked up for a year or two, and they hadn't
Right.
gone out and done the fast food. It was amazing. Like Taco Bell and Captain D's were the top 2 restaurants on the way home that we would stop at and eat at. It was just something. And if you think
Yeah.
about you've been locked up for a year or two, where would you go to eat at? But
Yeah.
it was overwhelmingly, they loved like Captain D's. They loved like the fried okra. That was one of the things they would get. So it was amazing. It's been a true journey getting that started. I can tell you story after story about folks that we have transported, because when we started some of these programs, the office staff was helping do some of those things and making sure
Right.
that now we've got people that are hired and they're trained to transport. And we even have a wheelchair van in case somebody needs wheelchair, assistance, that level of
Right.
assistance. But yeah, we're transporting people all over East Tennessee, getting them to doctor's appointments and things like that. We also have another great service that we started because of COVID. I don't know if you remember when the president came on and just kind of told the world that, hey, we were shutting down and older adults shouldn't be out shopping or out in the public because it would be dangerous for them if they got COVID and it would
Right.
be detrimental. So
Right.
we started a shopping program. And he did that on Friday, February the 13th, 2020. If you remember, it was Friday the 13th. I'll not forget listening to him talk. By the
Yeah.
next Thursday, we had our shopping program up and going, and people can go online to our website, which is www.schas.org, and they can look at that and they can put their order in there. But one thing that we have learned about older adults is when they get a little bit of dementia going on and things, they struggle to use the internet. So they can call us actually and place their order online, which is also a wonderful thing. And I can tell you, just from them being able to call us and place their order online, we go grocery shopping and deliver it to them. Most of our folks don't pay a fee, but some of them do pay a small fee for that service. But either way, to go from a company that had no grocery shopping program to one within a year that's delivering over $250,000 in groceries and toiletry items and over-the-counter medications and supplies like that has been amazing. So yeah, that one has impacted thousands of lives. We survey those clients, and it is amazing. They say their diet is better, they have better access to nutritious food. It is, the impact of that one program has been amazing. And then again, they have transportation limits and they have our challenges, and they also have internet challenges. So those
Right.
programs that we have added because of COVID has filled some gaps.
Letting their doctors know that you exist, I think, would also be something that they should share with their doctors' offices, because not having the supports and the layer of supports that are needed for them to remain independent in their own home and to do those chores, and they would maybe be reaching something in their cabinetry, above the kitchen, and they would lose their balance and then break a leg, or and then they're hospitalized, and then their families have to all of a sudden scramble for where the services are to try and locate the resource. There are gaps out there, Tim, and you're filling those gaps, and I, as a nurse, I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Julie. Just what you said, the family members, and there are a lot of unpaid caregivers out there taking care of loved ones. And getting that break is just so much, it's needed. It's needed for your personal health, for your
Right.
mind, for your physical well-being, for your spiritual well-being. You need that respite break from time to time. You need a caregiver to come in and allow you to just, reset yourself and say, hey, I can continue on with this challenge. Maybe get out of the house, go grocery shopping your own self, or do
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
And I always say, I think one of the best things that we do as a company is just allow sons and daughters to be sons and daughters and not be caregivers all the time,
Right,
and restore some of those relationships, because it's very hard to come in and start treating your parents like they have to be taken care of. And a lot
right.
of times that gets thrown on you because of a health or something changes in that older adult's life. And when that happens, it is a scary situation. But we are always glad to come in and maybe take away some of the burden of doing some of the household chores or assisting with the bath and those things, and really just allow sons and daughters to visit with their mom and dad and enjoy that time with them that they might not otherwise get if they had to spend it caregiving for them.
Your caregivers are vetted.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, everybody we hire, we're going to drug screen them, we're going to background check them, we're going to reference check them. I mean, they have to, with our licensure for the state of Tennessee, we have to do those things. But we also do training for them.
Yeah,
Anybody, pretty much anybody that has a compassionate heart that wants to be a caregiver, in the state of Tennessee, we can hire you. But certainly you still need to know how to give somebody a bath, or how to use a Hoyer lift, or,
right.
how to wash clothes nowadays. Not everybody grows up washing their own clothes. So that can be a challenge, making sure that
Yeah.
people are trained to do those things.
Well, that's
Yes, we go over a lot of that information with them, and again, how to talk to somebody with dementia, how to respect their religious beliefs, cultural things like that. There's a lot that goes into caregiving when you're walking into somebody's home one-on-one to
right.
take care of them. And so you gotta alert their eyes and their ears, and you gotta alert them to all of these things that could be happening in a home.
Right. And then you also had mentioned pet care, and I wasn't sure to the extent of what your pet care services consisted of. So I wanted to just briefly mention that.
Okay, well, one of the things that is really cool about our transportation program is if you have a carrier to put your pet in, we can take it to a vet for you. You can go to the vet with your pet. And, a lot of buses and things won't allow just those pets to be in a carrier and to be taken somewhere. So that is one cool thing about our
Yeah.
program. Yeah, I mean, the pet care, obviously, will help take care of the pet. I think we can do a dog walk with them or something like that.
Yeah.
Change litter boxes and so forth. So yes, there is some pet care there. It's not extensive by any means.
Right.
We're not
Right.
veterinarians. We're not going to give medicines to those pets and
Right.
like that. But just general pet care. As long as we find a caregiver that's not allergic to your pet, then we can help out with that. Obviously, the other side of that is if you have a pet that bites people or is not friendly to people, then we will ask, in order to be in that home to take care of you, that pet be locked up in a room somewhere while we're there, because we don't want our caregivers bitten, and that does happen from time to time.
Right. And when we were talking about surgery earlier and having a caregiver service, or, maybe that would be a time where somebody might need occasional pet care while they're recovering from surgery or something like that, correct? I mean,
That could happen, and obviously, long hospital stays, overnight things like that. Obviously, people need to get arrangements for their pet and kind of, find a
exactly.
place for them to go and so forth.
Right. Right.
But yes, I've driven pets to the veterinarian several times, those offices. And if you're an older adult and you've got a pet, that pet is important to you. There is no doubt about it. A
Right.
lot of older adults will give their pet their food instead of eating their food, and
Yeah.
that is reality, because they can't stand the thought of that pet going hungry. So
Yeah.
pets are very important to them, and even in Alzheimer's cases, I mean, I've served people personally that could not remember their spouse's names or their kids' names, but they could remember their pets' names. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it just becomes a big thing to them.
Right. And finally, we had talked about, you had mentioned cost briefly, but one thing I wanted to reinforce is that, everybody has a budget, right? And you had mentioned that you may do some sliding scale. So maybe you can share what that is all about.
Right, affordable to one person is not necessarily affordable to another person. So it does come down to people's budgets. And obviously there are folks in that we serve that can pay the full fee. And we do have a full fee, and we call it the full cost of the program. And so those that can afford to do it, we like for them to do that. And also we're a provider in like the Veterans Administration and some programs with the state of Tennessee. So there are programs out there that people can qualify for to get the service like paid for them, and we partner with those two companies, and they reimburse us back a cost. But then you got those folks in the middle that don't always meet all the requirements of the state of Tennessee, or they're not a veteran. and they don't have like, the money that it takes to pay like a for-profit company or our company our full cost of the service. And so they need help with getting the service. They still need it, but they don't qualify otherwise. So we offer a sliding scale fee. And we do that
Okay.
because we're a nonprofit and we get some United Way funding. We also do some fundraisers throughout the year, and we write grants and things like that to help pay and offset that cost. So our sliding scale fee for our services starts at $8 an hour. I think the rates right now are 8, 10, 12, and 14. And then it jumps up to our full fee. And really,
Okay.
we base that on a person's net income. So what we do is like we would ask you, hey, what is your gross income? And then we take out like, do you have a mortgage, or do you have rent, or do you have a car payment, or do you have credit card payments? What is your internet cost, your phone cost, your food cost, pet cost? So we get down to what is left over at the end of the month, which is totally different from government services and things like that. They go by gross income, obviously. And we look at what that net income is. And so we base that fee that we're going to charge someone on their net income per month. So, you may have a $1,500 or $2,000 income coming in every month, but when you get done, you may only have $100 of that left over. Well, that's not going to buy you a lot of help. So you can, at $8 an hour, you can still get help for that. And that is the good thing about our agency, is we're able to offer that sliding scale fee to folks.
Yeah, that's less money than it costs to go eat out anymore.
Yes, yes, and that is very true. I can tell you, when I took those people on those to eat for the first time, and they've been in their home for years, those Captain D's cost and those Taco Bell costs, those inflation had hit it. It went up some. They didn't remember it being like $10 a meal to get Captain D's.
I know. I
We would
know,
order and they
right?
would say it'll be 10.29, and then, oh my, when did it go up so much? But they still wanted that fried okra.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that part was good.
Um, well, and one last question, I guess, is do you help them fill out the paperwork to help submit to, whoever they need to submit to at the time that you are discussing costs? Can you help them go through that? Or do you?
So our role in that, obviously, the Veterans Administration and like the state of Tennessee programs,
Oh,
they
okay.
have their requirements, and we, of course, do
Okay.
not know what those are. So we make referrals, or we give them the information to call and do
Okay.
that themselves, because we don't know their requirements, and they definitely have to qualify for their services. And then those programs will send us an authorization that says, hey, you can start providing this many
Oh,
hours for these people. And it's usually, it may be 6 hours a week or 20 hours a week, or whatever they deem the person qualifies to receive.
okay.
Um, Now on our end personally, we also run into folks that maybe are not able to cook, and we help them, we refer them to mobile meals. We just kind of call that case management, and you know what that means is we're
I,
helping them, we're
I,
connecting them with resources in East
yeah,
Tennessee. And we're in like 20 counties, and every county is different with those resources. And so the good
right,
thing about us is like we have local directors that manage our counties, and they usually know all of those resources, and they're able to connect them with what they can get inside of each county. Yes, of course, some programs are statewide, but then you get down to what churches are helping folks, or where are the food pantries, or who's a good elder law attorney in that neighborhood. Maybe they need some elder law services or something like
right,
that.
right,
And so we're making those referrals. We're helping them make those connections to make sure, again, that they're getting the services that they need. So that
right.
is really cool stuff that we're able to do that for them, and guide them along that process and help in any way that we can. Also, they ask a lot of times about home health services, who's the best home health agency and so forth. Again, we know several of them, and we might say, well, we've worked with this one in the past and that one in the past, and these are the ones in your area. We also give them like, and most of the counties nowadays have senior directories. And so, we're giving them the senior
Right,
directory information and saying, you can look through here and find some more resources and things like that. And then, of course, older adults are very vulnerable. So if one of them has something that's not necessarily in the world, like maybe they need their house painted, or maybe they need their driveway worked on, or something like that, or someone to do their yard work because they can't do that anymore. Well, they want a reputable person in their community to do that. And so we're a lot of times just able to help with those recommendations and say, well, I've heard this person is good, or that person is good. And so
right.
we're able to do those types of things for them as well. Just kind of case manage with them and make sure they get what they need to stay safely in their home. That's what it's all about.
It is, Tim, and the networking is so critical these days, having, and what you're doing is helping people get started, and I love the fact of all the services that you provide. I mean, it's so comprehensive, and the referrals are great too. And I'm just thrilled to have you as a guest. And I'd like to tell our viewers that we are going to put Tim's contact information in our description of the video. And we're also going to put his his links in our Nurse Table Talk website resource page. So, if anybody has any questions, Tim, should they call your general number? We will put that in there too. And I can make sure that's in the description. Should they ask for you? Or is there, like you said, an intake person? Do they just ask for general information?
Yeah, what we would probably prefer is that they just say, hey, I heard about your agency and this is the service I'm looking for.
Okay.
If it's the transportation, then we get them over to the transportation person. If it's someone to come out to their home to do like homemaker services or help with the bath, then we get them to the person. And depending on which county that is, each person is kind of different. And of course, we have a map on our website that kind of lists out all of our counties that we serve here in East Tennessee. So again, we're gonna connect them within the agency to the right person. They just really need to tell what that service is they're looking for, and we will help them get connected to whoever is going to make that happen for them.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, do you have any questions for me, or are we all set? And
oh, Julie, this was a lot of fun, as you can tell. I hope that I come across as loving to talk about our agency. Always glad to answer any questions about SCHAS and the work that we do. Again, we have a wonderful history. I've been here 22 years. I've gotten to see a lot of things change within our industry and a lot of programs come around and so forth. As a company, we are just excited to serve older adults and people with disabilities and their caregivers. And we hope that we do hear from some folks that have seen this, and maybe we can help them out in the long run. And anything that you need from us in the future, please let us know.
Oh, I will definitely do that. Or if I hear anybody looking for caregiver services or anything, and even my medical providers or, doctors that I network with and things like that, I'll be sure and let them know about you as well. I really appreciate your time today, Tim. Thanks for coming on. Have a great afternoon, and maybe you could come back and see us again and maybe share some of those stories that you have mentioned. We'd love to.
I would love that. Yes, very much.
Okay.
I can put you to tears pretty quickly if you need me to.
Well, we would love to hear some of those stories. So again, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Nurse Table Talk. Save time, save money, be informed. Thanks for watching.